Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel, MD, General Physician. All my video lectures are mainly for educative purpose. In continuity of different series, today I will be discussing in very short Vidal test, the importance and how it is being done. It can be asked as a short note, and very frequently someone will bring a report to you and you will have to interpret that particular report. And this is the most common test which is being done for diagnosis of enteric fever. So we'll be discussing on that aspect. So Vidal test, also you can go for typhi test or typhi.m test, and this is required for diagnosing typhoid fever and to put them into a group. Clinically we can say suspected case, but if Vidal is positive, we are not able to do culture, you can put them into a probable case, and only by culture report positive you will be able to confirm that is a case of typhoid fever. Hence Vidal test becomes very useful in at least making a diagnosis of probable case of typhoid fever, or we call the person, you can make the diagnosis that this person is most likely to be suffering from enteric fever or a typhoid fever, and you can start presumptive diagnosis and you can start with the treatment. So there are two common tests which are being done. One is Vidal and second is a rapid test, which is typhi test, or there are other rapid tests which are available. We'll be talking a little bit regarding indications method. So by and large, the gold standard for diagnosing of typhoid fever and confirming that particular case is any person who is suspected to have a enteric fever. It is on the ground of clinical site, that is he is exposed to an endemic area, he is having minimum 3 days or more than 3 days fever with GI symptoms, and again in symptoms high grade step ladder type of fever or stepwise rising fever, relative bradycardia, coated tongue, GI symptoms in the form of distension of abdomen, tenderness, diarrhea and vomiting. Now this particular will be labeled as a suspected case, and blood culture should be collected. By and large the blood culture will come positive in first week. Vidal test and rapid test will be of use in second and third week. By and large the bone marrow culture is usually not done. You can go for a urine culture and stool culture in the third week, and it is also useful to diagnose a person in a carrier stage. So the most common culture which is being done is a blood culture, and that is a gold standard, and you make the diagnosis. If the blood culture or stool culture is not possible, then we make what is called as empiric diagnosis. So Vidal test is mainly utilized for making that diagnosis. So just for highlighting, good clinical history, good examination of symptom signs and clinical examination. Blood culture will be very useful in first week, almost 90% of the time it will be positive. Bone marrow also will be very useful in first week, almost positive in 90%, while stool culture and urine culture and even duodenal bile culture will be useful in third week. And we already mentioned that Vidal agglutination test will be useful in second week and third week. This Vidal test can be also utilized along with rapid test. There are other laboratory tests which gives you an additional clue regarding the disturbances because of enteric fever. which will be beneficial during a management of enteric fever. Also, you can detect the bacteria by PCR test, that is antigen detection test by PCR test, and you can also use a DISO test for urine examination. But these particular tests are not commonly being done. So diagnosis is always by clinical presentation with positive culture. If not possible, then go for rapid test or we call Vidal test. And other laboratory tests will be useful for the management of enteric fever, in which you can go for renal function, liver function, CBC, you can go for electrolyte imbalance, etc. These are the clinical criteria which are commonly being utilized as a major criteria, like fever, headache, and relative bradycardia. While in a minor criteria, vomiting, splenomegaly, diarrhea, chills, and pain in abdomen. And then with the help of Vidal test, you can put them into empiric diagnosis, or we can call that as probable case of enteric fever if culture is not possible. So Vidal test and typhi dot test. Typhi dot test will help you to confirm the diagnosis by IgM and IgG, and there is also rapid kit are available. You can use this for making a presence of IgM and IgG, while Vidal test will be helping you to identify the presence of antibodies in serum. And there are two methods which are being done. One is tube method and one is slide method. We'll be discussing that. So it is a detection of antibody in serum. There are other technology which are for detection of antigen in serum, like Nutan. So it will be detection of an antibodies in serum by Vidal test, which can be done by tube method or a slide method, or you can go with typhi dot, which is a rapid kit test. There are rapid kit which are available called typhi dot kit or rapid kits, and you will be able to detect antibodies. You can detect antigen in serum by ELISA technique or co-agglutination test or TubeX system, and also you can detect them in a urine by those particular group of tests. And if you detect a presence of antibody in serum, and if it is positive, it suggests that the person is likely to have enteric fever, or we call typhoid fever, and depending upon the type of antibody which is being present, you can classify into typhoid and paratyphoid, and this will be useful after 7 days of onset of infection. In first week it may be negative, so usually if it is done in the first week you can get false negative, so it will be negative and you will interpret that person is not having enteric fever. So it should be done ideally after 7 days of onset of infection. So Vidal test is indicated in a person who is suspected to have an enteric fever by clinical criteria. It is also used as a screening test in a febrile patient who is living in an endemic area. It is also utilized in a person who is having a fever for at least 1 week of illness and he is coming from an endemic area. And also it can be utilized in a healthy individual or a healthy population for estimating baseline titers, and this is done very frequently. This is a slide method I'll be showing you one video later on as we finish the lecture. And there are different antigen. There is a flagellal antigen which is called as a H antigen, and we'll get an H antibody against the somatic antibody, or we call as a O antigen. We get O antibody, and to a surface antigen we call VI antigen, and that is VI antibodies. But by and large we do with H and O antigen. So we look for H antibody and O antibody, and H antibody you can see in typhoid, paratyphoid A, paratyphoid B, and paratyphoid C. So you can look for those. So usually that is the way it is being looked for. So you look for O, you look for H, you look for AH, and you look for BH. And with serial dilution, you can look for the quantitative estimation, that is called titer, which you can look for. And that can be done with a slide method as well as test tube method. And you look for the agglutination, and if agglutination is present, depending upon the agglutination, you will identify what is the titer. The lowest concentration which is required for forming a agglutination will be called as a highest titer. So that will be the way it is being expressed. So Vidal test is usually considered to be positive if anti-O antibody titer is more than 1:80, and when it is 1:80 it indicates an active infection, and O antibody is a antibody against O antigen which is present in the cell. We already shown you here. It is present in the soma, that is a cell antigen, while surface antigen is VI antigen, and flagella which contains H antigen. So H antigen is not much of importance, but if anti-H antibody titer, if it is more than 1:160, usually it indicates the past infection or in an immunized person. And if you come across this is O antigen to typhoid titer, or H antigen to typhoid bacilli, or H antigen to paratyphi A, or H antigen to paratyphi B, if all these are above 1:80 or it more than 1:80, then they are diagnostically significant. So then it becomes of importance. So that is the way you look at the Vidal test. But this test may vary from place to place depending upon the geographical regions. Suppose if the person is having an initial titer of anti-O antibody which is 1:40, that is not positive. But after 1 week, suppose you repeat the test and now the titer comes to 1:160, means it is 4 times the baseline, then this will be definitely considered as an acute, or person is having acute infection of enteric fever, or person is suffering from typhoid fever. But if there is one condition, that the person should not have been started on antibiotics, because if antibiotic is started, it will interfere and it will prevent the rise in the titer, because it will kill the bacteria. So the titer elevation will not be seen. So if a person is already on antibiotics, then Vidal test becomes useful or non-useful, because it will interfere with the rising titer. So when you are interpreting the Vidal test result, if there is a rise in only T, that is typhoid O antibody, then it indicates recent infection due to any serotype of S typhi or S paratyphi, A and B. But if O titer and H titer of typhi is elevated, it is due to S type. If it is O titer and AH antibody titer, then it is paratyphi A. If it is BH titer with typhi O titer, then it is paratyphi B. And rise in only TH antibody, that is typhi H antibody, it indicates convalescent stage, means person is recovering, or person is having anamnestic response, or person is vaccinated. And usually in a post vaccination, we will have all TH, AH and BH antibody elevated. So this becomes a very useful test. Also, it can help you to make a diagnosis of typhi, paratyphi A, paratyphi B, or person is in a convalescent stage, or it is post vaccination. So it does help you. You can have a false positive in case of an unapparent infection in an immunized person or previously infected person, or also good number of time it will be false positive in case of a carrier stage. A very simple example, like if one person is having a typhi O 1 in 160 and typhi H 1 in 640, here both are positive, so this indicates clear cut typhoid infection. And paratyphi AH is less than 1 in 80, means person do not have paratyphi infection. In second example, you can see here O is 1 in 160 positive, but H is 1 in 80, which is considered as negative. So then you can say that this is probably maybe false positive, or it does not give you the exact interpretation that Vidal is positive. And here paratyphi AH is 1 in 80, that means it is negative. So when H is negative and only O is positive, it is always a question mark. So while interpreting the test results, one must be aware of a local baseline titers. Single test report may be significant if the titer are very high. If the titer are low, you can repeat the test after 1 week or 2 weeks and see that there is a rising titer. Titer are often low in early infections or in a partially treated cases. Also, it may be low, titer may be low or may be elevated in HIV positive individual. There are cross reaction antigen with other species may give rise to false positive agglutination. You might have an anamnestic response to a past enteric fever or unrelated fever, prior immunization against enteric fever, and there is also both poor specificity and sensitivity in diagnosis of enteric fever. Hence, this you have to take with caution, with little pinch of salt. And while doing a test, you must take all the precaution to handle all the sample as potentially infectious. Handle all reagent with a care and avoid contact with eyes, mouth or skin. Do not perform the test with a mouth pipette. Discard all used reagent and sample as per guidelines of disposal of biological waste. Biomedical waste products should be discarded according to the guidelines, and take care of health cares. Rapid tests are also available. You can utilize Typhidot or Rapikits, etc. And by that you can detect IgM and IgG, and that will tell you, I am explaining in a second slide, that if IgM is positive, IgG is negative, it means early primary infection because IgM has started. So person is having a recent infection and early stage of infection. If IgG is only positive, IgM is negative, means late stage or latent infection, or person is almost in a recovery phase. If both are positive, means active primary infection at present or repeat infections. And if both are negative, it means person do not have infection at present. But negative result does not rule out typhoid fever because in a first week it can be negative. Now just I'll start with this video. This video I gathered from YouTube, and this is how the test is being done.
To room temperature before testing. Shake and mix antigens well before dispensing. Slide screen method. Place 1 drop of positive control.
This is the slide screen method, how it is done.
The glass slide. Place 50 microliters of physiological saline onto the next reaction circle of the glass slide. Place 1 drop of patient serum to be tested onto each of the required number of reaction circles. Add 1 drop of O
PC is controlled.
to the reaction circles.
PC is controlled, and these other are antigens. Serum, what is being added.
Of the antigen suspensions.
In this slide,
O, H,
in this saline was added.
And BH.
And now you are adding
circles containing the
a standard
serum.
antigens. And you are mixing it with a separate
over the entire circle with separate mixing sticks.
Separate sticks, and then you are mixing it well, and then you look for after 1 minute.
Interpretation of results. Observe for
now you can see here the agglutinations are seen. That means O antibodies are present. Well, you can't see in this. Here it is not seen, here this is not seen, so it is only O which is positive. H it is negative. You can't see agglutination here. You can compare with this.
Antibody is not present in the patient's serum. As the test wells show, agglutination.
So if agglutination is present with O and AH antigen,
corresponding antibodies, namely Salmonella
AH is paratyphi.
And H
so if it is present with paratyphi A, then you will say that person is having paratyphi infection.
Is Salmonella paratyphi A. Slide semi-quantitative method.
And in a semi-quantitative method, it is a dilution which is being utilized.
Quick approximate titers only for the antigens that tested positive in the slide screening test. Using a pipette, place 80 microliters, 40 microliters, 20 microliters, 10 microliter, and 5 microliter of patient serum to be tested on 5 different reaction circles.
So mainly it is O and H antigen are being tested, and here you are taking the quantity of solutions, quantity of serum, not solution, of serum, and it will be diluted to 3:20. Now you are adding a drop of antigens.
Showed agglutination with the test sample in the screening method. In our demonstration, it will be O and AH antigens. Using separate mixing sticks, mix the contents of each circle uniformly over the reaction circles. Rock the slide gently back and forth. Observe for agglutination macroscopically within 1 minute. Interpretation of result. Agglutination is a positive test result. The titer is reported as a reciprocal of the highest dilution, which shows a positive test result.
If you get positive in 1 in 80 in O and in H, 1 in 160, then it will be positive.
Of 8 count tubes.
This is a test tube method.
And label them 1 to 8. Pipette 1.9.
This is in detail how exactly it is being done.
Into tube number 1 of all sets. To each of the remaining.
This is just to show you how exactly it is being done. I am skipping this particular slide now. Interpretation remains same. It does not change whether it is a slide method or it is a test tube method. But in this test tube method, you will look at the bottom, what is called as a button.
1 milliliters of the diluted serum sample from tube number 1 to tube number 2 and mix well. Transfer 1 milliliter of the dilute serum sample from tube number 2 to tube number 3 and mix well. Continue the serial dilution till tube number 7 in each set. Discard 1 milliliter of the diluted serum from tube number 7 of each set. Now, the dilutions of the syrup sample achieved from tube number 1 to 7 respectively in each set is as follows: 1 is to 10, 1 is to 20, 1 is to 40, 1 is to 80, 1 is to 160, 1 is to 320, 1 is to 640. Tube number 8 in all the sets serves as a saline control. To all the tubes, that is, 1 to 8 of each set, add 1 drop of the respective well-mixed antigen suspensions from the reagent vials and mix well. Cover and incubate overnight at
This will take a
37
very
degrees
long time
centigrade. After incubation, dislodge the sedimented button gently
because you
and
have to
observe
put it
for
into a
agglutination.
cold storage
Interpretation of result. The tube
for a
test
long period.
measures the titer of antibodies present in the patient's serum. Titer is defined as the concentration of an antibody determined by finding the highest dilution of serum at which it is still
Very
able to
few
cause
laboratory will be
agglutination
doing
of
this
the
particular
antigen.
method.
If the highest dilution of serum is 1 is to X, then the titer of the antibody will be reported as X. In this test sample, the highest dilution at which agglutination is visible is 1 is to 80 for O antigen and 1 is to 160 for AH antigen. No agglutination is observed with H and BH antigens. Hence, the patient suffers from Salmonella typhi infection with anti-O antibody titer of 80 and anti-AH antibody titer of 160. Titers of TO, TH, AH, and BH above 1 is to 80 and above are taken as diagnostically significant. However, the diagnosis should be confirmed with positive cultures, rapid tests, clinical presentation, and other laboratory tests.
So I end my lecture here.